People often say we only have a few seconds to recognize danger, but on the ocean floor, some predators act in less than a second. It is a hunting strategy that dates back hundreds of millions of years, and in most cases, you would not be able to anticipate it. This predator is known as the bobbit worm, scientifically called Eunice aphroditois. It belongs to an ancient lineage of segmented marine worms, part of the polychaetes within the order Eunicida, a group defined by their elongated bodies, sensory appendages, and powerful jaw structures. What makes this group remarkable is how far back it goes. Relatives of these worms have existed for hundreds of millions of years, long before modern oceans took shape. One of the most striking examples is Websteroprion armstrongi, a prehistoric species that lived roughly 400 million years ago during the Paleozoic era. Fossils of this animal reveal enormous jaw elements, some of the largest ever discovered in polychaete worms, suggesting that even at that time, this lineage had already developed highly effective feeding mechanisms. Unlike many modern animals whose forms have changed dramatically over time, the basic structure of these worms, a segmented body, sensory appendages, and extendable jaws, has remained surprisingly consistent. This is not because they stopped evolving, but because this design has continued to work. Scientifically, members of this group have been described and studied since the 18th century, yet we are still uncovering how they live, hunt, and reproduce in the wild. Much of their behavior remains difficult to observe, directly hidden beneath sediment and out of sight. So when we look at a bobbit worm today, we are not just seeing a single species. We are looking at a lineage that has endured across vast stretches of geological time, refining a strategy that has proven effective again and again. This is not a newly evolved predator, but a continuation of something ancient, a biological design that has persisted for hundreds of millions of years, still operating quietly beneath the surface of the modern ocean. If what you just saw made you curious, subscribe, because this is only the beginning. The name bobbit worm can be misleading. It does not refer to just a single species, but is often used to describe several large worms within this group that share a similar appearance and behavior. Among them, the most well-known and widely recognized species is Eunice aphroditois. It belongs to the family Eunicidae within the broader group of polychaete worms, a diverse and widespread class of segmented marine animals. And once you begin to look closer, you realize they are not rare at all. They are part of a much larger network of related species found across oceans around the world. Some of their relatives are far more familiar to divers and marine biologists. Species like the fireworm, known for its bristles that can cause a sharp burning irritation, or the ragworm, a common polychaete found in coastal waters, share the same fundamental body plan. Segmented bodies, rows of bristles called chaeta, and a life spent largely on or beneath the seafloor. These are not unusual traits. They are part of a design that has been repeated again and again across countless species. What sets the bobbit worm apart is not that it is completely different, but how far it takes these shared features. Its size, its hidden lifestyle, and its method of ambush push this familiar body plan to an extreme. It's not an exception, but a more specialized form. And under the right conditions, even the most ordinary life can become something formidable. Beneath the sand, the bobbit worm lies almost entirely hidden with only its head and a set of slender antennae extending into the water. To anything moving above, there is no warning, no visible sign of danger, just an undisturbed patch of seafloor. But that silence is deceptive. Unlike active hunters that search, chase, or track their prey, this worm depends on stillness. It buries itself within the sediment and waits sometimes for long periods, conserving energy while the environment brings potential prey within reach. Its diet reflects the life of the seafloor. Small fish, shrimp, crabs, and other invertebrates that move across or just above the sediment all fall within its range. These animals rely on constant movement to survive, but that same movement makes them detectable. The worm does not need to search. It waits, it senses, and when the moment comes, it strikes. In an instant, its jaws extend outward, seizing the prey and pulling it below the surface. Some observations suggest that in certain cases, the force of this attack can be strong enough to tear or severely damage its prey. Each strike is precise. Each success can sustain it for days, sometimes longer. This is not a predator built on speed alone, but on positioning, timing, and sensitivity to its surroundings. A quiet, efficient system that has endured because it works. And for anything that passes within reach, the outcome is often decided before it even realizes the danger. There is no warning, no visible approach, only a brief moment. That alone is enough to show just how unsettling the bobbit worm can be. Much of this activity takes place at night when visibility is low, and many animals rely less on sight and more on other senses. In these conditions, the bobbit worm does not depend on vision at all. Instead, it uses its 5 antennae as highly sensitive detectors. These structures can pick up subtle vibrations in the water as well as chemical signals released by nearby organisms. Every movement, every trace left behind by a passing animal becomes part of the information it reads from its surroundings. For creatures moving along the seafloor, this creates a different kind of risk. They may not see the worm, but their presence can still be detected. A slight disturbance in the water, the faintest chemical cue, can be enough to reveal their position. In this environment, awareness is not just about what can be seen. It is about what can be sensed, and for the bobbit worm, that is more than enough. That effectiveness is also shaped by its physical structure. The bobbit worm can reach significant lengths, typically measuring about 3 feet, and in some cases can grow up to 10 feet long. Yet despite that size, most of its body remains hidden beneath the surface, coiled within its burrow, and supported by the surrounding sediment. Its body is divided into many segments, allowing it to bend, anchor, and adjust its position within the sand with precision. This segmented form gives it flexibility without sacrificing stability, an important advantage for an animal that spends most of its life partially buried. Along its body are fine bristles known as cata. These structures help it maintain contact with the sediment and can also cause irritation if touched, offering a degree of protection. Its coloration tends to blend with the environment, ranging from reddish to brown tones, sometimes showing a subtle iridescence under light. This makes it even less noticeable against the natural textures of the seafloor. Taken together, these features do not make it the fastest or most aggressive predator in the ocean. Instead, they make it highly adapted to a specific role. It remains stable, concealed, and ready, using its environment as both cover and support. In this case, success is not defined by speed, but by how well the animal fits into the space it occupies. But even a strategy this effective has its limits. The bobbit worm is not at the top of its environment. It exists within a larger system where other predators are always present. Larger fish such as groupers and triggerfish, as well as opportunistic hunters like octopuses, can prey on it under the right conditions. The bobbit worm's advantage lies in its ability to stay hidden. However, when more of its body is exposed or when it leaves the protection of its burrow, that advantage begins to disappear. In those moments, it can shift from predator to prey. This is especially true in its early stages of life. Juveniles lack both the size and the security of a stable burrow, making them easy targets for other predators in the same environment. However, like many segmented worms, it has some capacity to recover from injury. Damaged sections of the body can sometimes heal or partially regenerate, helping it survive encounters that might otherwise be fatal. But this ability has limits. It does not make the animal invulnerable. In the end, the bobbit worm is highly effective within its niche, but it remains part of a larger balance. It can hunt, but it can also be hunted. It is a capable predator, but not the one in control. Reproduction follows a similarly uncertain path. The bobbit worm reproduces sexually through external fertilization. When conditions are right, females release chemical signals into the water, attracting nearby males. In response, males release reproductive cells into the surrounding water, where fertilization takes place outside the body. There is no nesting behavior and no protection for the next generation. As a result, only a small fraction survive long enough to continue developing. Most are lost very early, long before they ever reach the seafloor. Those that do survive begin life as part of the plankton, drifting with ocean currents before eventually settling down and adopting a hidden, burrowing lifestyle. Their lifespan is not well established, but is thought to span several years. Within that time, survival is shaped by chance, by how many offspring are produced and how many make it through each stage. For humans, encounters with this animal are quite rare. The bobbit worm spends most of its time hidden under sand or sediment, often in places people do not usually touch. Many divers can swim right above one without ever noticing it is there. It does not attack people or try to interact with them. Its behavior is focused on catching small sea animals, not anything large like humans. If left alone, it will usually stay hidden and inactive. That said, it is still not something you want to touch. The fine bristles along its body can cause pain and skin irritation. Most problems only happen by accident, for example, if someone places a hand on the seafloor without seeing what is there. Even then, such situations are uncommon. In reality, this animal is far less dangerous than it might seem. It does not hunt humans, and it prefers to remain unseen. It is dangerous, but not in the way many people imagine. Even though it rarely interacts with people, this animal has still appeared in unexpected places. In one aquarium, something strange began to happen. Fish started disappearing. Some were found injured, others were simply gone. There were no clear signs of what was causing it. No obvious predator, no damage to the tank, nothing out of place. At first, the staff could not explain it. The tank was monitored every day, and yet whatever was responsible remained unseen. Only later, after taking a closer look and removing parts of the rock inside the tank, did they finally find the cause. Hidden deep within the rock was a large bobbit worm, completely out of sight. It had likely entered the aquarium much earlier, carried in with the rock or substrate, and had been living there the entire time. From its hidden position, it was able to hunt without ever being noticed. It had been there the whole time, long before anyone realized, and that is what makes it so fascinating. Beneath the surface of the ocean, there are countless forms of life we rarely see. Some are slow, some are fragile, and some, like this one, are highly specialized for a world we do not often notice. It is a reminder that the ocean is not only shaped by what we can observe, but also by what remains out of view. And sometimes the most effective predators are the ones we never even realize are there. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more stories like this, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.